All right, guys. So I'm going to do just a weekly rundown, just my perspective of what I think could happen. So usually, quite like starting with dollar. I don't really trade that many dollar pairs other than AU, and AU doesn't always really correlate. Well, it doesn't always 100% correlate with the dollar, but it's kind of still good to keep an eye open. So. We've just been on a massive bullish run, basically super long, and I just expect continuations back to the upside. We do have this weekly high, which I do expect to actually get taken. So I think this could potentially just be like a sell to buy movement, maybe. I do also can see we have a previous week's high, which I would want to see get taken as well. But we will kind of see and evaluate what does happen. But high time frame, I'm expecting higher prices. You can see basic just high low, high low. So now just expecting that high again, potentially seeing that kind of sell to buy movement that's kind of getting created. In terms of, I don't actually personally trade this, so I'm not going to look for like setups and things. But I really would just want to expect this low to get taken out. We are actually really in the fib levels quite nicely, and we are in this kind of big overall move. We do have this imbalance in here. Has price tested that yet? Okay, cool. So we have on the 4 hour this imbalance in here. So price could even come down, take out these lows, fill this imbalance, and then actually start continuing higher. I'm only really gonna start getting interested when we actually start breaking some sort of highs or some sort of shift in momentum. But I definitely would like to see these lows get taken. I'm going to be looking for buys until this low gets broken. We have had a small break here. This is just an intermediate structure break. Obviously, we have trends and trends. Higher time frame, this is our trend. But lower time frame, you can see it was downtrend. So I am just going to be waiting. I am just going to wait and see if we do get some highs taken. That will give me a bit more confirmation from in any other pairs anyway. So AU is the first one that I'm looking at. Actually hasn't really done a massive amount. Just still going and pushing up into high time frame targets. We had this old New York high, which you can see 2 o'clock. This got taken with yesterday's New York move. So you can see this red is New York, and New York took out that prior red as well. So New York, you've got red New York, blue London, blue Asian, and green London. I don't always use this, but it is actually really quite useful, and it's helped me quite a lot recently. So I'm looking for, again, just continuations of AU for the time being. We do have a bit of a bigger order in here, which price has actually just started to come into. But I think we probably could dig a little bit deeper into this until this low is actually really broken. Then that's kind of when we look for the change in momentum. But we are actually breaking highs and leaving liquidity to topside as like a further target for us to actually get taken out. So I'm looking for potential buy moves up into at least this hourly. This was quite a significant point in price. This was the one that really kind of caused and broke structures. There was a lot of FOMC meetings that happened in here. So upside movements definitely is what I'm looking for. Dropping it down on the lower time frame, we had this old high, which actually just got taken, but there is so much liquidity still resting in here on the lower time frames. You can see there was little bits of raids and things, not much, but we've kind of got this trend line kind of building up. So I do expect that to actually get taken at some point. We do also down here have an Asian low, which I really would like to see get taken as well. So my idea for this coming week on AU is to see if on the, where are we? On the hourly, we still have this order. We have just missed this imbalance fill. So I definitely think we could probably dig up into that at least one more time. So we have this 5 hourly play. We had some highs. This got taken. There was actually a 1 minute move that I sent in here. So we have this 1 minute move, which was a test, a really basic trade. You can see we have breaker structure. You could have even pulled a fib on this. Fib coming to the retracement areas, 1 minute supply and continuations. You can see we just took this old high, and we were actually creating some lows in here for us to actually get taken out as well. So that was a really good, nice trade to see. So considering this was the supply that mitigated this 1 minute and actually really died on a 5 minute, we have some really nice 5 minute supply. You can see we just took out that wick. So what I'm expecting now going into next week is this is our main trading session. Everything else isn't really like that relevant for me anyway. So this is our main session supply, which actually caused this first significant like shift in momentum. You can see this is where price kind of really come up. Ever since then, this high was never broken. So until one of these highs get broken, this is going to really like confirm things. So everything else in here is intermediate. We actually finally break that first piece of structure, and this was the supply which really kind of broke and shifted this market. So what I do want to see is we have at the moment price is slowly manipulating. So I really do think we could probably come up one more time and then continue and eventually finally see if we can come take out that low. And we also have a 5 minute move, which was our major London low, which really kickstarted it off. So you can see we had Asian lows mitigation. So we had Asian manipulation, London mitigation, and now potentially looking for some sort of continuation from this point. This was actually a really, really nice Wyckoff that happened, just basic accumulations. You can just see as soon as you get some sort of manipulation and a break, this is like a confirmed strong point in the market with a lot of orders. You can see price comes down, we mitigate going into London session, we go from Asian to London. I was expecting going into New York to actually kind of have a raid of these lows, some sort of raid in here as well. We didn't get that, but I am just going to wait on this higher time frames. If we're looking from, we've got a low, high, 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 low, high, high. Now waiting for that high low to form and continue to the upside. And this is looking like quite a nice area. The fib is lining up quite nicely. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. If we are going to continue potentially maybe going into Asian session, we take out and mitigate old New York, come down Asian, mitigate in London, price come up, and then we continue, or something in around those lines. But I do want to see this get taken, and I do want to see potentially price come back in here. So that 5 minute for me is potentially looking quite nice for some sells. So it would only be, let's check it out, a 9 pip stop loss with a 72 pip target. So potentially 7 times your risk, which you're going to potentially make. So I am going to look for some sells for then some buy opportunities if we do actually get those. So that is AU anyway. And euro pound. Euro pound was just quite long, really. I mean, if you guys know some sort of anything about like our 3-day cycle, you can see we've been in the cycle for about 4 days now. So I'm expecting some sort of price movement to happen. You can see coming from all of this, it was on the 3rd day that price actually really come down from this point. I think a lot of this was bigger. This was 2 days, so that would have been, let's go from here. Yeah, 4 days. On the 4th, then we die off. So I'm going to be looking for some sort of move similar in this. We've had our cycle now. So I am going to potentially be waiting to see if price is going to make some sort of adjustment higher. What I do and quite like to expect is some sort of movement back up into this supply zone in and around the 85,000. So 85,000, that's actually super clean. Didn't even notice that before. So our major psychological level or major half point, you can see this is kind of like a crucial price point. So I do want to see if we could probably pull back up and test that one more time. Do have some really nice hourly and 30-minute supply, which we could actually come in and test off. But I do expect a few things to happen. So this is what I'm going to be waiting out for. I could see price potentially coming back down and just continuing with this momentum, we could just open and kind of just die off. We could pop back up, mitigate, come further down, and then we'd be sweeping a lot of these highs in here. Or price could come up, we could just take out this low. You can see this was 10 a.m. low. Let's check it out. You can see 10 a.m. low, and to actually come in and potentially mitigate out of some prior London supply that was actually created. You can see, where was this, going into basically 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock London open. So I really do think potentially cards are on the table. There was a nice trade yesterday. I was looking for sells off this supply. You can see this was Asian supply. Price come down, we create London liquidity. Price comes into London open or mid London close, and then we get that price rollover. Price comes down, London close going into New York. We crash, we take out prior London low, we mitigate out of New York supply, and then we continuate. And I was expecting all of these lows to get taken. So we had, this is our first raid, this is our second raid, and now you can see this is our third. So I was actually expecting these lows to get taken. You can see this was, where are we, 3 o'clock. So this is New York low. Again, you can see this is New York low as well. So looking at different session timings, it can actually be really kind of beneficial when you are trading. I think we just missed this hourly because I was looking for, this was my major target. Yeah, so we still didn't actually test into that area as of yet. But what I would quite like to see is probably just continuation still back to the downside. You can see we did actually slowly close out of these highs, or we did actually slowly start to manipulate them. But for me, that wasn't really anything too crazy. I do think we could probably get like a stronger raid move out of that. So going in on the 15 minutes, we have some highs in here. We do have the supply zone, but you can see this 15-minute just didn't get tested. And on the 1 minute, there is some highs in here. So I can imagine a lot of people probably be trading off this, when in reality, I think this is probably going to get taken, that we're probably going to dig a little bit deeper into this order to then actually just continue its down move. First target is just going to be the supply zone. This is actually 7 a.m. So this is basically our London low. So we could actually go down and attack that, in all fairness. And this is going to be my second point. We do have quite a nice 30-minute area, which was created in, again, London open, or just after London open. So whether we're actually going to take that wick and continue or test off this area. So I would quite like to see price kind of come back down into these areas. If not, potentially coming lower into this supply zone on the hourly, which just got missed with this wick. So I always think if something just missed it, potentially there's a reason, because it's probably just going to trade through it, generate some liquidity for price to actually just start trading through. So this is what I do expect. So we will see what happens going into Monday. If anyone's got any questions, please let me know. Feel free to fire away and I will help you out as much as I can. All right, guys. Thank you.